Welcome back. All right. So hockey started at 9 o'clock this morning for me. I've been watching hockey all day. It is now 10:34 p.m. Pacific, so that's 13 and a half hours. It's a lot, and it probably shouldn't have been this late. So we're going to start things off talking about the bonkers game that was Arizona and St. Louis. Vejmelka versus Bennington. No Chikrin in the lineup. Arizona had to phrase it as he's out of the lineup for trade reasons. He's not traded tonight that I've seen, and it doesn't look like it's imminent. I would say the reason you want to keep him out for trade reasons is because, and I've mentioned this in a lot of recaps, Chikrin keeps getting hurt. Keeps getting hurt when he's blocking shots. He keeps setting up leaving games. He comes back. You don't want to risk him getting hurt. So Keller scores early, 51 seconds in. It's already the third shot of the game for Arizona. Schmaltz and Valimaki with the assists. The Blues didn't have any shots to this point. Blues look to answer. They have a 3-on-2. That's broken up. They're still not getting shots on net. The shots are 5-1 Arizona, 7 minutes into it. Fisher has a shot deflect out. The Coyotes end up getting a power play, and they score on it. It's Schmaltz from Keller and Valimaki at 9:31. That one goes in off Parayko's skate. It's 2-0 in favor of Arizona. Coyotes press with 8.5 minutes left. The Blues would then take their turn, pressing with 3 minutes left. 2:07 left. Blues get a power play. Arizona kills that off. We go to the second period. Leddy has a rush chance to save. The shots are now 4-0 for the Blues at 3 minutes. Much better start for St. Louis. Coyotes press at 5 minutes. There's a power play then for the Blues. Buchnevich has a rush chance that's saved. That's killed off. Mosier's denied after a save on Krause. And then Sod opens the scoring for St. Louis to make it 2-1. Buchnevich and Parayko with the assists at 10:20. And then the Blues press looking to tie it. There's a delay game call that gives the Blues the power play. Kyrou has a shot that's blocked. Thomas can't bury it. Falk has a chance that's held. We get a brief 4-on-4. The Coyotes have their power play. They can't get it set up in time. It's killed off. And then Sammy Blais gets his first of the season and his first in a while. He scores from Leddy and Shen at 17:19. Great pass by Leddy on that one, and Blais buries it. So good news that Blais on the board there. 52.3 seconds left. The Blues get a power play. There was a shorthanded break for Krause that takes place after that. He's denied on that. It's 2-2 going into the third with no indication of just how crazy this is going to get. Third period, O'Reilly has a blast that's held. There's a near miss for Shen. That's killed off. And then at 1:27, Thomas scores from Kyrou, wires it from the slot. So big kill early in the period by Arizona. The power play that spanned the end of the second, start of the third. And St. Louis gets a goal anyways. Blues press for another. The shots are 5-1 in their favor at 5 minutes, and eventually, Calle Rosen scores from Pitlick and Toropchenko at 6:44. Blues are in complete control. They score again to go up by a score 5-2. It's Rosen from Shen and Kyrou at 8:33. And then, kind of out of nowhere, against the flow of the play, Clayton Keller gets the second goal of the game. He scores from Hayden and Stetcher. So he wires that one, and you could just feel like this, just something takes over St. Louis at this point. And yeah, Arizona has some chances. They get a power play. That's killed off. One shot. They go back to the power play. They score on this one. It's Bukestad from Schmaltz and Keller at 13:14. So it's a one-goal game. The Blues get a power play. They need a goal. They do not get it. That was killed off. Goalie pull with 1:35 left, and they score 6-on-5. It's Krause that ties it from Schmaltz and Valimaki at 19:03. But we go to overtime. The Blues control early. And on net drive, O'Reilly gets the winner. He scores from Buchnevich and Parayko at 1:02. That makes your final score 6-5 in overtime for St. Louis. It's an ugly one, but they get the win. They go to 24-25-3 with the win. With that overtime loss, Arizona 17-28-8. So they're getting points. Shots in this one 10-5 Arizona in the first, 17-9 St. Louis in the second, 13-9 St. Louis in the third. And in the overtime, they get both shots, including the one that matters. Final shots 37-28 St. Louis. Power plays Arizona 2 for 4. St. Louis 0 for 5. Hits 22-14 St. Louis. Vejmelka saved 31 out of 37. Bennington saves 23 out of 28. And yeah, they couldn't hold a 3-goal lead in the third period against the Coyotes, who were playing the second half of back-to-back, but they still get the win in the overtime. So if you want to take this as a positive, cool. If you feel kind of nervous about this as a Blues fan and think, we're never getting out of this mess, I don't know that I would argue with you. Speaking of teams getting out of a mess, though, I am wearing Minnesota garb because they were at home against New Jersey, the best road team in the National Hockey League. Vanacek versus Gustafsson in this one. Good back and forth early on. Palat's denied and close. The shots are 4-1 New Jersey at 4.5 minutes, so they come in just as advertised. Power play, though, for the Wild, and they score on their second shot. It's Eriksson Ek from Addison and Zuccarello at 5:52. Spurgeon then has a shot that's held as the Wild press. The Wild with some momentum. Now they have the lead. The Devils get a power play. The Wild don't let them set up, and they kill that off. So after the first period, it's 1-0 Minnesota. The second period's been a problem for the Wild. It's a problem in this one, too. Wild start with a full power play. That leads to a shorthanded rush by Howla that makes it 1 minute and 21 seconds of 4-on-4. Everything's killed off there. But at 2:45, shortly after the New Jersey power play ends, Tatar scores from Palat and Hamilton. So it's not technically a power play goal, but it kind of sort of is. We then had a fight between Bastian and Hartman. Kaprizov then has a rush chance that's saved. There's a press by the Devils at 5.5 minutes. Eventually, they score. It's Tatar with a second of the period from Severson and Boquist at 6:04. The shots 6.5 minutes into the period are 6-1 for New Jersey. Greenway has a rush chance that's held. Merrill has a shot go wide as the Wild press, looking to tie it. Goudreau to Foligno, near miss there with 1:41 left. The Wild get a power play. There's a shorthanded 2-on-1 that takes place with that, and Sharon Govich is denied. So the 19 seconds of that power play for the Wild roll over into the third period. The Devils finish the kill. The Wild would press after it was done. Dewar has a rush chance that's blocked. The Wild press at 3.5 minutes. Eventually, they do tie it. It is Hartman from Dumba and Brodin at 5:25. It went in off Hartman's chest. He'll take it. Honestly, I don't think he cares how it goes in. Hartman needed that one. He gets it, and there you go. Devils press at the half. Dewar fires one wide. The Devils clear. Things get pushy with 5:48 left, but it was a low chance second half of that period. I thought Minnesota was playing for the point at this stage, really, really needing to not lose in regulation. So you go to overtime. The Devils 8-3 in overtime. The Wild 3-2 in overtime. Those records would stay intact. Devils control early. Eriksson Ek fires one wide. The Devils take over. Devils control. They do set up. Goudreau steals it. Howla defends on that. Goudreau blocks a 3-on-2 opportunity. Sharon Govich is robbed on a fast break, and then Zuccarello tips one wide on a 2-on-1. We're going to the shootout. In the shootout, all three New Jersey players would not be successful. Zuccarello and Freddie Goudreau score to make your final score 3-2 in the shootout in favor of the Minnesota Wild. They win it. They go to 28-20-4 with the shootout victory. On the New Jersey side, they're 34-13-5 with the shootout loss. The shots in this one, 8-7 New Jersey in the first, 9-8 New Jersey in the second, 9-7 New Jersey in the third, 3-2 New Jersey in the overtime. Final shots 29-24 for the Devils. Power plays New Jersey 0-2, Minnesota 1-3. The hits 32-20 in favor of Minnesota. Vanacek 22 saves on 24 shots. Gustafsson saved 27 out of 29. And I thought Gustafsson played fantastic in this one. We'll see if they come back with him in the next game. Next on the board, Chicago and Winnipeg. So this was Mrazek versus Hellebuck. Chicago's won their share of games, and if you don't work hard enough, they can beat you. So Appleton has a chance that's kicked aside. The shots on net, not very many. First 4.5 minutes, both teams had one shot. Scheifele's denied on a 2-on-1. Lots of close calls for the Jets in that first period. And considering they're coming off of the time off, it makes some sense they're a little bit out of sync tonight. That showed up at various points. Schmidt has a chance that's caught and held. There's a power play for Chicago. Reese Johnson has a chance that's held. There's some pushing as well. That's killed off. What was driving me a little bit nuts during this was Sportsnet announcers just saying Johnson. There are 3 guys named Johnson that play for the Chicago Blackhawks. You need to be more specific. You can't just say Johnson with the shot. Johnson behind the net. Which Johnson? So, strong second half, though, for the Hawks, but it's scoreless after one. Early in the second period, Josh Morrissey decides, I'll do it myself. He scores at 1:15, and he backhands it from the slot. Nice play there for him. Jets press for another. We get a power play, though, for the Hawks. Tyler Johnson's denied. They cycle. Notice I'm making sure I put down which Johnson it was. 21 seconds of 4-on-4 then take place, and the Jets end up getting themselves a power play after that. Schmidt gets bloodied with a high stick. Was it a follow-through? They called 4 minutes on the play. They ruled it was not a follow-through because he didn't actually contact the puck. If you contact the puck and it's a follow-through, it's not a penalty. It's one of those weird things in the National Hockey League. It is. It's one of those really weird things. So if he had touched the puck, it's not a penalty. But if he had touched the puck, but he didn't, so it isn't. Anyway, I've explained this before. The follow throughs aren't a penalty, but man, they can be dangerous. So Hawks shot block, 2 men short, but eventually on a 5-on-4, it's Wheeler from Connor and Morrissey at 7:33, and it's during the second half of the double minor. So they had an extended 5-on-3. They don't score during that, but they do score during the second half of that double minor. Jets press with 9.5 minutes left. Connor nearly adds another. There's more pressure, and eventually Scheifele scores from Wheeler and Ehlers at 12:09. It's a one-timer on a rush. That pass was meant for Pionk. Pionk missed it, so Scheifele buried it instead. Wheeler thought it was hilarious. So it's 3-0 Winnipeg after, or not after, but at this stage of the game. Kane fires one high from the slot. There's a power play for the Hawks. Tyler Johnson has a blast that's held. That's killed off. And so we go to the third period. Now I can say it's 3-0 Winnipeg. We had a fight between Tenorti and Lowry early in the third period. Remember, Tenorti coming off of having, a broken jaw. You always worry about that when a guy gets into a fight, but he was okay. Morrissey has a blast that's held, and then Tyler Johnson breaks the shutout attempt by Hellebuck. He scores from McCabe and Dickinson at 2:08. The Jets, though, they press for a response. The shots on net are 5-4 for Chicago at 7 minutes. Kurashev is denied on a 2-on-1 rush after that. Momentum with the Hawks. It felt like the Jets were a little bit sleepy, but they did wake up in the second half. Stenlin's denied on a fast break, and that was after the Jets had some pressure where they're kept to the outside, but you're killing the clock, right? Goalie pull with 3 minutes left. Domi has a shot that's blocked. 2:21 left. The Jets ice it for the second time in roughly 15 seconds. Kane couldn't bury one in close. Barron misses the empty net. Wheeler does not. So again, a little bit of a chuckle from Wheeler in this one. He gets the empty net goal from Barron and Lowry in 1935. Wheeler initially gave it to Lowry with the idea that Lowry would get the empty netter, and he didn't get it. So your final score in this one's 4-1 for Winnipeg. They go to 33-19-1 with the win. Chicago 16-30-5 with the loss. The shots in this one, 10-6 Chicago in the first. Both teams had 13 shots in the second. Both teams had 9 shots in the third. The final shots are actually 32-28 for Chicago. Power plays, 0 for 3 for Chicago, 1 for 3 for Winnipeg. Hits 24-14 Chicago. Mrazek saves 24 out of 27. Hellebuck saves 31 out of 32. And, they avoid the dreaded trap game, don't they? All right, last game of the night, and by half an hour. So when your game is advertised to start at 7:30, and you're playing against an Eastern-based team where fans are already staying up till 10:30 their time, having a ceremony for Dustin Brown that goes on forever, it just felt like it was... And I understand. Now, I'm not saying you don't have ceremonies. I'm not a fuddy-duddy about it. But have the ceremony at 5:30. Have the ceremony at 6. Have as long as ceremonies you want. The puck drop should not be affected by ceremonies. This is something I've talked about on here before, and I don't care if it's the Canucks. I've talked about it when the Canucks have done it. I don't like it. This game didn't start until after 8 o'clock my time, which is late. This is after the NHL decided to have this puck drop at 9:15 locally for Winnipeg. So Jets fans, I feel for you for the amount of coffee you'd need. At least this one, you guys get the win, so you feel a little better. I'm sure LA fans feel good. Pittsburgh fans, I saw the complaints. Not happy about the fact Pittsburgh just never were really in this one. So it's DeSmith versus Copley, and it's Dustin Brown night. And it just went on forever. And as soon as they started it, and I was like, okay, we're outside. And everybody's talking about all their stories about Brown. Man, it just goes on for a long time. Have it before, way before. Have it as long, have a 3-day thing. Just don't affect the start time of the game. So Joseph has a net feed. That's picked off at 2:28. Anderson Dolan deflects one in. Edler and Kupari with the assists. It's 1-0 LA early on. Shots are 3-0 for the Kings at 3 minutes. Just Pittsburgh really sleepy to start this one. And again, this is going to make your jet lag worse, right? Penguins get a power play. That's killed off. The Kings press. Kempe has a chance. That's held. Shots are 7 apiece with 8.5 minutes left. So the Penguins wake up a little bit there. Kings press. They're kept to the outside. McGinn fires one wide on a rush. And then it's Iafallo. He buries one 5-hole from in close. Kupari and Fiala with the assists at 17:47. I did see Penguins fans not happy with that goal. After one period, it's 2-0 in favor of the Kings. Second period, 1:58 in. Kempe scores from Kopitar and Byfield. He wires the top shelf. DeSmith's out for the night. In comes Tokarski. Penguins get a power play. The Kings don't let him set up. It's killed off just the one shot. The power plays were ridiculous in this and slowed the game down. So the first period went really fast, and I was like, well, this will be fine. No. So the Kings will let him set up, kill that off, and then Kempe scores the second goal of the second period, his second in a row, buries it on the rush. Kopitar and Anderson with the assists of 5:18. Moore is denied from the slot. Tokarski holds. There's a power play for the Penguins. That's killed off, and then the Kings get a power play because this was the game of all the power plays. Kempe scores on that one from Doughty and Kopitar at 14:27. So for Kempe, that is a natural hat trick. That is the second natural hat trick of the day. There you go, 3 goals in a row by the same player. Kaliev fires one wide on a net drive with 2:01 left. The Kings go back to the power play. That's killed off. We're going to the third period. This game's 5-0. And the third period was choppy. It was choppy. There was some dirtiness to this as well. Not the fun kind either. Early press by the Penguins. The shots on net, though, are 2-1 for the Kings at 5 minutes. Not a lot of opportunities there. Iafallo has a chance as held. The Kings draw a power play. That's killed off. The Penguins draw a power play. And so it's a cross-check on Sidney Crosby in front of the net. And clearly he felt that it was more than just your standard cross-check. Or felt that there was some other penalty should have been called on the play. Because he's following the referee around. The referee's telling him, just go away. Just go away. We want to drop the puck. Please go away. And eventually the referee decides fine. And he kicks Crosby out of the game. Gives him a misconduct. So that misconduct means Crosby's night's over. Very frustrating night for the Penguins, of course. So yeah, he's done. The Kings then draw another power play after all that's cleared up. It becomes a 5-on-3. As the 5-on-3 ends, they score again, and it's Kempe, 4th goal in a row. He scores from Fiala and Doughty at 15:09. The Penguins would then get a power play because, of course, everybody gets a power play. That's killed off. Your final score is 6-0. So if you're a Pens fan and you stayed up late, this was not a game to stay up late for. They fall to 26-17-9 with the loss. The Kings 29-18-7. This game ended at 10:32 my time, meaning if you're on the East Coast, it was 1:32 in the morning. Shots in this one: 12-10 LA in the first, 11-6 LA in the second, 9-8 Pittsburgh in the third. Final shots 31-25 in favor of the Kings. Power plays, both teams had 5 of them. Pittsburgh goes 0 for 5, LA 2 for 5. The hits 19-18. Pittsburgh. DeSmith saved 12 out of 15. Tokarski saved 13 out of 16, so both goalies with rough nights. Copley saves all 25 shots for his second career shutout and his first as a member of the Kings. So there you go. You're all caught up for tonight. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.